Hello, everyone watching. My name is Josh Battersby. I did my self-determination final project on Somaliland, and I apologize if my voice is a little raspy or if I'm coughing or you know a little bit hard to understand. I've been quite sick the past few days, so let's get started. To start with a quote from Jagmeet Singh, who is a Canadian politician. He's the head of the new Democratic Party, I believe. So let's start. My belief in human rights includes a fundamental principle that is written into Article 1 of the UN Charter: respect for equal rights and self determination. Now, these are words from someone who is what I would deem as correct about the idea of self determination. In a world made up of 195 countries, there is a hunger brewing to become a sovereign state in many parts of the world, or their own sort of civilization. Well, free from the grasp of other countries that are dominating them or controlling them. These people don't think the same as these other people, or they don't want the same things, or there's a certain part of the agreement or whatever's going on in the country there where it's unfair and they want to branch off and create their own country. But before we go further, I'd like to explain exactly what self-determination is. So self-determination is the right of a group of people to decide their own political status, form their own government, and have complete control of their own affairs without interference from outside entities. So you can see why these states that basically have set themselves up to become their own state have such a hard time when they're dominated by the big state that they're a part of. For example, Somaliland and Somalia. So, Article 1 of the United Nations Charter states that the purpose of the United Nations is to develop friendly relations among nations and based on the respect for the principle of equal rights and self determination of peoples, and to take other appropriate measures to strengthen universal peace. Now, this seems like a majority of people, what the majority of people would want, that, to be respected and to be seen as its own autonomous sort of region or body. Um, that's not always the case of how it is, though. Uh, there are many theories in which people decide to go about when creating their vision for their own sovereign state. For myself, personally, I am more of a democratic leaning ideologist. So I believe that the power belongs to the people, not in the hands of one giant elite or made up of elites. So we learned in the Freeman article that there is democracy, but there's also different kinds of democracy, and what I believe in is liberal democracy. So Freeman talks about how liberalism is grounded in the individual related values such as autonomy or human rights, whereas democratic theory views is a view of legitimate power and locates such power in the people rather than in an elite, like I was just talking about. So this is a great explanation of power to the people who want to control their own destiny or run things their own way. It's it's hard when you got conflicting ideologies within a country, but then you don't have a democratic system because what the majority of people would want might not be what is happening because of this. So this ensures that both the individual will be protected on the individual level while also still being able to participate in the larger group decisions on a broader scope of things. So, we have here in the USA, we have local, state, and federal elections, and we vote on all these things. One area where we see democratic theories today is in my country of Somaliland. It's a small sliver of land that has separated itself from the rest of Somalia, right on the coast. I believe it's on the northeast coast. It's now, as of now, unrecognized as a sovereign state by the rest of the world. In 1981, the SNM, which is the Somali National Movement, which is a sort of guerrilla group that pushed back against the then dictator Siad Barre, I believe I say his name right, his regime, which led to the Somali Civil War and the SNM getting back control of the territory, which was Somaliland, and they had the borders reinstated and all that. Excuse me. Since then, the territory has been under control by the uh, Democratic government. They have a very similar setup to how we have it here. They have a president, they have a vice president. These people are elected. They have, interestingly enough, they have a parliament, and I believe they also have a House of Representatives, sort of Congress kind of setup as well. Not sure how they have all those. Um, they even have a constitution designed to protect the rights of the people. Although they have continued to fight for independence and being recognized as so, they have not been recognized as an independent state by a single state member of the United Nations or any international organization. This is unfortunate, as it has shown more than enough that it deserves to be its own country and its own sovereign nation. If I could make some changes, to the UN Charter, it would be under Chapter 2, which it talks about membership. Chapter 2, Article 4 explicitly states that membership in the United Nations is open to all other peace-loving states. So Somaliland should be considered for this, which accept the obligations contained in the present charter and in the judgment of the organization are able to, and in the judgment of the organization are able and willing to carry out these obligations. If this is so, then why is Somaliland not recognized as a legitimate state? International law states that in order to be recognized as a legitimate state, it must meet four things: a permanent population, which Somaliland has; defined territory, which they do have. You saw it on the map at the beginning of the slides. A government not under control of another, which is their democratic system they have set up, and the capacity to interact with other sovereign states. Well, they have that ability too. Somaliland meets all these requirements and is still not considered a legitimate state. So what's the deal? I believe that under the membership chapter, they need to develop some sort of foundation for those who want to and have the possibility to become their own sovereign nation and be recognized as so. Different cultures, different histories, and different languages have always been a major part of, unique part of, our human experience and world experience. I'd like to see some explicit steps outlined to show these self-determination countries exactly how they will be recognized by the world, and not just playing games here and there where we decide, if a country can be a country or not. I think that it's if they meet the requirements, then they deserve it. So that's my presentation, and I appreciate everyone for watching. I'm sorry again for being a little bit under the weather if I was hard to understand, but thank you.